Hi, Werner. It's great that we can talk today about wines and about the Neustift Abbazia di Novacella winery. You are working here for several years now, and now you are the responsible wine manager of the winery. So I ask you to present us briefly the winery.
Abbazia di Roccella is one of the oldest wineries of whole Italy. So it was founded in 1142. It's more than 880 years of history as a winery. And in addition, we are still being an active monastery. So it's owned by Augustinian monks or canons. And so this is quite a unique history, the combination between winery and this long history and the abbey as well. And in addition, we are here in a very special or very unique wine growing area. So here, Valle d'Arco is actually one of the coldest wine growing areas in whole Italy. And we are able to make here very, very special wines.
Mhm. Can you tell us something about the four wine lines?
So the most historic one is the classic line. It's the labels you see most on the market. It's our regular product. It was introduced in the 1960s, so around 1960. And yeah, it's what we are producing and selling most. Then in the 1990s, we introduced the Propositus line. Prepositus is simply the Latin word for abbot. So the wines are dedicated to the abbots, to the chief monks of Abbazia di Nocella. It's a project which started in 1992 with the 850 years anniversary of Abbazia di Nocella. And it was only two wines or two varieties. And then in the last 20 years, we added all other grape varieties to this product line. In terms of wine, it means that the grapes are coming from the best spots, lower yields, older wines, and then also in the winery, a little different treatment, so longer aging on the fine lees, sometimes a little bit of wood and stuff. Third line is the so-called insolitus line, and it's a line or it's experiments we are making in the winery. It was introduced in 2000, and in this product line, we are showing some experiments we are doing in the winery, or we are doing, or in the cellar, or in the vineyards. It's like working with new grape varieties which are not common for this area, like Pinot Blanc, because Pinot Blanc is quite new in Valle d'Arco, or hybrids, so-called PUIs, or different containers like amphoras or orange wines and stuff. And every year we are releasing a couple of wines within this line. So it's 3 wines a year. And so in the last couple of years, last 5 years, we introduced like 15 wines in the so-called insolitus line. Insolitus simply means as a word unusual. So it's unusual for Abbazia di Nocella. Last product or products we introduced as the vineyard wines, and it's single vineyard wines. It's the idea was to give the terroir more value. So we selected two very special vineyards, one with Sylvaner planted in 1972, so more than 50-year-old wines. One was Pinot Noir, coming from the area of Cornaiano Appiano, wines from or planted in 1993, so also more than 30 years old wines. So wines from very special places with a lot of concentration. Then in the winery, very long aging on the fine lees. And so we were able to create two very, very unique products, which should represent a lot a winery, and therefore we selected or choose Pinot Noir and Silvaner as grape varieties, and that's kind of the peak of our pyramid, so the quality pyramid.
We hear a lot about climate changes today, and my question is if you notice them, and how do we react in the vineyards and in the cellar?
Of course, we are noticing it. Climate change is an issue. Temperatures here in Valle d'Arco within the last 30 years raised by like 2 degrees Celsius, more or less, which is a lot, and it's a lot for the wine, first of all. But on the other hand, until like 10 or 15 years ago, the positive effects of the climate change here in Valle d'Arco were predominating, so were more important than the negative ones, because until that time, or in the 80s, 90s, we had some very cold years where the grapes hardly get fully ripe. And now with the climate change, we have more or less only good vintages. So the really bad vintage doesn't exist anymore. Of course, if it goes on with this speed, like in the last 30 years, the problems will get bigger here as well in Valle d'Arco. And in some very, very hot years, like in 2020, we see that as Valle d'Arco loses a little bit of, or the wine from Valle d'Arco loses a little bit of his traditional style. And therefore, we have to work on the wine, or first of all in the vineyards, on the grapes, in order to keep this typical aromas, or this typical quality and style, even in warm years. How we are doing it, it's a lot of canopy management, so leaf work. We are trying to have the grapes always covered by the leaves, and we are going up in terms of elevations with grape varieties. We are here in the middle of like 2,500 meter high peaks, so there are all the possibilities to go up with the vineyards, and therefore we are working on that. On the lower elevation vineyards, we are bringing new grape varieties to the area. In our case, for example, Pinot Noir. We never had Pinot Noir here in Valle d'Arco as a winery, but in the last 3 years, we planted more than a hectare of Pinot Noir on lower elevations. And that's kind of how we are reacting, or how we are handling or dealing with that.
Now I want to ask you a personal question. How did you personally come to the wine topic?
Well, I grew up in a restaurant, so there was always some connection to the wine as well. So I did the wine list as well in the restaurant at home, but it was kind of a small restaurant with like 4 or 5, maybe 10 wines on the list. And then I studied tourism management and was working in tourism industry, and only like 14, 15 years ago, I changed to the wine industry, was working for Altadige Wines then, and very soon the topic of the wine had, I did like a lot, did like it a lot, and there was always more, or I got more interested in this topic, and I started to study it as well. So did the sommelier the degree, and then later the diploma in wine spirits as well. So a lot of education in terms of wines, because it was kind of a topic it fascinated. It was a big, it fascinated me a lot, and therefore I started to study it and work on it. And still today, I'm a lot into it and like it a lot.
If somebody is interested in the wines of the Neustift Abbazia di Novacella winery, which wines would you suggest? Perhaps you can name one or two to get into the stylistics of this winery.
I would say, in terms of white wines, Sylvaner and Kerner. Sylvaner is our tradition, so it's kind of the oldest product or the oldest grape varieties we're still cultivating here in Valle d'Arco. But also in terms of wines, it's very wines with beautiful structure, nice aromas, but not too intense, and huge longevity. So Sylvaner can age for decades. And then Kerner, of course. Kerner is the most important grape variety today. It's the most important grape variety in Valle d'Arco as well. And it's a beautiful wine. It's very, it's quite a strong flavor. So it's very intense in terms of fruit, like white peaches, and then a little bit floral. And then on the other hand, very good acidity. So a lot of balance, or very good balance on the Kerner. Therefore, I would say Sylvaner and Kerner, and then for reds, maybe the Pinot Noir. We have very good Pinot Noir vineyards down in Appiano area, where we are able to produce a unique Pinot Noir, and there you should try the Propositus or the Vigna Oberhof, which is very, very good wine.
That sounds amazing. Thank you for the talk.
Thanks a lot.